inshallah. So to start our morning, we'll move into the session called NAIT, the History and the Future. This session will provide an overview of NAIT's origins, its roles in safeguarding Islamic properties through trust and waqf structures, and how the institution is preparing to support communities in the decades ahead. Our speaker is Dr. Gaddoor Saidi, the chairman of the North American Islamic Trust, one of the most long-standing and impactful waqf institutions serving Muslims in the United States. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Gaddoor Saidi to the stage.
In the heart of America, a legacy of faith quietly stands. A trust built to protect, nurture, and serve the Muslim community, generation after generation. This is the story of the North American Islamic Trust, known as NAIT. Founded in 1973 by visionary Muslim students, NAIT was created as a waqf, an Islamic endowment dedicated to preserving the properties of mosques, Islamic schools, community centers, and organizations. The goal was clear: to protect our sacred spaces and secure their future in accordance with Islamic principles. For over half a century, NAIT has safeguarded over 500 properties in 42 states across America, ensuring that mosques, classrooms, community centers, and organizations remains a beacon of faith and unity. Through its dedicated programs, NAIT continues to empower the Muslim community. The Islamic Centers Division, supporting endowment of properties, providing advice on the governance and compliance of local centers, protecting our vital properties from legal liabilities and future uncertainties. The Islamic Centers Cooperative Program, ICCP, providing institutional unity in practice. 300 centers have trusted NAIT with millions of dollars for growth and community benefit. A proven record of 45 years of financial growth, capital preservation. If your nonprofit organization wants to practice unity and growth, don't wait. Join this success story. Iman Fund, NAIT was the first to establish a Mana Mutual Fund, a Sharia-compliant mutual fund in America starting in the 1980s with great success, following by launching Iman Fund with over $200 million in assets, over 25 years of excellent performance. Iman Fund has been greatly successful and competitive in the financial market. Let Iman Fund help you and your family reach your goals. And together, we serve and build our community. American Trust Publications. In the time of great need, NAIT established ATP, producing high-quality Islamic literature to educate and inspire. With over 100 book titles, ATP has been serving the community since 1976. Cemetery services, offering dignified Islamic burial services since the 1980s through its Crescent Cemetery. To meet the needs of the community, NAIT acquired Mercy Cemetery in Lombard in year 2025. Become our partner in leaving a legacy of compassion and hope in every state. The American Halal Institute, AHI, a nonprofit organization that provides halal certification for a wide range of products and services in America, join us in ensuring halal integrity across America. Halal X is a trusted directory and marketplace that connects halal-conscious consumers with Muslim-owned and values-based businesses worldwide. And Hometown Mercy Mosque, NAIT's new headquarters and a vibrant community hub for the future. It has become more than a place of worship. It's a center for learning, youth activities, and community developments. For decades, NAIT has quietly worked behind the scenes, preserving faith, supporting communities, and protecting our collective legacy. But it's time for every Muslim in America to know this story. Join us. Become our partner. for an even better future. For over 50 years, NAT has protected what matters most: our faith, our institutions, our finances, and our future. Together, we build. Together, we preserve. Together, we grow. Join NAIT.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Very happy to be here. I thank USCMO. You know, I had a problem remembering the USCMO, and then turned out USC was my university. So no, I never forget it. USCMO and Islamic Relief for this opportunity and for this very important conference. Actually, I was telling Brother Osama that you beat us in our own game, because in our plans was to launch a series of lectures, seminars on the Waqf, but we never got to it. We got busy with other stuff. But we'll be very happy to join forces. I would like to thank Dr. Osama Mesh, who is a newly elected board member of NAIT, and he pushed us very hard to be here. Now, NAIT has a story, and when we tell the story of NAIT, people are telling us, you have a good story. Why you're not telling your story? And we'll get to that. Why we were not telling our story, and now we are trying to tell our story. The history is, and this is very amazing when you know that NAIT was established in 1973 by the pioneers of Islamic work in America, which are the founders of MSA. Just when you think about it, these young Muslim activists that came from overseas and established the MSAs in universities, and they had the foresight to think about the Waqf and to think ahead. Right now we are writing actually a book about the history of Islamic work through the lenses of NAIT, and we're interviewing some old-timers who are still alive. May Allah give them more life, health. And the first president was Dr. Mu'in Siddiqui. May Allah give him life, long life. He is in his 80s, but we were able to extract some information from him. And he said that when the MSA leadership decided to establish NAIT, they were triggered by something, which is they heard that somebody started a mosque somewhere, he said, in Arizona. And then after a while, he sold it and disappeared. When we tell you today, it's very important to have your masjid in a waqf, and we tell you that there is masajid even today, and especially schools are being sold. Sometimes people think that we are exaggerating. I will tell you a story from our own community in Southern California. First, there was a school that was called Al Medina. That was taken by the state for some freeway expansion, and they gave them some millions of dollars. That was some 25 years ago. And then the money disappeared. Nobody knows where it went. Actually, I have a friend of mine who donated for that school, and he called the guy who was in charge of it, and he said, what happened with the money? He said, the money, we still have it, but we cannot find a replacement because now real estate is very expensive. So he told him, that's good, fine. Can you just give me a copy of the bank statement? He hung up the phone on him. Case number one. This is again, schools that I know, I walked into these schools. Second school, called Straightway School. This was like 15 years ago. Again, was a school and a masjid. And all of a sudden, it was sold. And Muslims got involved in the last minute. And there's a lot of story about it in our neighborhood. But the word out there is that another Islamic school took over, but had to pay the guy some good money. As we speak today, and this is the biggest one of them, as we speak today, actually I was very busy since Wednesday trying to salvage a school, again in our neighborhood, called Qurtaba School. This school was in the market. You know what happens? The guy who's in charge of the school is a good individual. I used to call him my friend. So he's a good meaning Muslim. And it was in the inner cities, but now it is in the heart of commercial real estate, because Google and Apple, they had their campus there, new campuses. So real estate is very, very expensive. The school was shut down because there was no students. Then he doesn't know how to pay the expenses. He started taking loans on the building. You know, he doesn't have any assets to support these kind of loans. So what do? You go to what they call shark man to give you loans at 12%, 15%, and so on. He did that twice, and then Wednesday I got a call from his relative, and he said, is there any way you can help us? Because tomorrow at 10 o'clock it will be sold in the marketplace on Thursday. And on Friday morning, the shark man got the school for $3 million. When he got an offer a year and a half ago for $32 million. So when we tell you that these Islamic centers and these schools are not secure, you have to have some kind of waqf, and you have to have some kind of a group management, not one individual. A lot of these small entities starts with a group, and then they start moving away, and the founder or somebody close to him start bringing his own family in it. This is what happened in this last story. In San Francisco area, I come to you from California, by the way, and we have problems in California, but problems are everywhere, I know. But in Northern California a few years back, a school/masjid was sold to satisfy a case that was taken by an imam against the masjid, so to pay him off. So it was not 1973 that people are selling masajid and entities. It is today happening. And unless we do something about it, we are really losing the trust of the ummah, the amana for the ummah. I'll tell you one more story about our own locality, and then we go into the NAIT. We have my own community, Islamic Society of Orange County, was in court a few years back. There was a conflict between the principal of the school, may Allah bless her soul, she passed away, and the masjid. The final outcome was $5 million judgment. Now the masjid was not under waqf, so they had to use their insurance, which paid only part, and then they have to scramble. Otherwise, she can, or her lawyers can put their hands on one of our biggest masajid there. Go back to 1973. How do you do this? Green button, right? Well, I'm pushing it, it's not working. Oh, you pointed? Pointed here? No? Somebody help. Anyway, oh, good. So, looking at the history of NAIT, as we said, established in 1973, and main purpose was to establish a waqf system for MSA properties at that time, and then to expand to other properties with Islamic centers. Another thing, there was two main reasons. One of them is this, securing the properties, and then the other one, to somehow have some kind of financial ventures to help MSA activities. That was the goal of NAIT in 1973. And we've been good to that since then. If I can tell you that right now we have north of 500 properties in 42, 43 states. And these properties are not small properties. Let me just give you an idea on the kind of properties we have that are under trust. Let's take one of the most important communities in America, which is the Silicon Valley community in Northern California. MCA, which is in the heart of the Silicon Valley in Santa Clara, has 4 properties. Their worth today, totaling maybe about 17 acres. The land only is worth north of $100 million. We have another big community, talking about the size, not the financial value, Islamic Society of Houston, that it has 22 Islamic centers. I like very much the idea. They started one Islamic center some 30 years ago, and that Islamic center started branching out to other ones. I think Adam Center is doing this here. Is a very good idea. But anyway, 22 other Islamic centers. Each one of them is a minimum of 5-6 acres. Some of them are 17 acres, are all with NAIT, alhamdulillah. And then we have the small masajid. Small masajid maybe in the area. Like these, a lot of them. Like these Islamic centers next to universities, all of a sudden now they are in the middle of the university. Some of them, the university pushed them out and gave them a good compensation, helped them to build another Islamic center, like in Ruston, Louisiana. And there is others that are in the heart of the University of Washington in Seattle. The Muslim house is in the heart of the university. And then there is others. And Brother Salah and Brother Maqsood, who I will identify in a minute, from our team will to testify to this. When we get unsolicited offers to buy these properties in Louisiana, in Arizona, for $20 million, $25 million, very small property. So alhamdulillah, the values of these properties in the books are not in the millions now. It's probably in the billions of dollars. But it is a trust. We have never leveraged any one of them. We have never lost any one of them. And we have been doing service to all of them free of charge. We have a staff. The overhead of our staff is north of $1 million a year. So that staff helps these Islamic centers because there is a lot of issues with taxes, with easements, with oil and gas rights, with problems with local governments. All kinds of these issues we handle on behalf of these Islamic centers, especially when you don't have a big community. And a lot of these Islamic centers are not as big as the MSAs or Islamic Society of Greater Jerusalem or Dar al-Hijrah here or others. So we help those all for free. Never ask them to pay a penny. Unless they get into some kind of a conflict within the community, which is, we're spending a lot of time trying to help people resolve these issues. One of the things which is, which really made NAIT successful is the fact that we hold the title for the benefit of the beneficiary, but we never get involved in operations. Zero involvement. And why is that? So that we will not drag the title into court. Let me tell you some stories, real stories. Some Muslim family were taking their kids to school in one of the Islamic centers. I believe this was in Texas some years back. And a car hit the kid. alhamdulillah, was alive, but he was hurt. So the family took the masjid, the school, to court. A lawyer looked at the property and said, yes, I will take it. And then after a few days, called the bank and he said, go and get a settlement because the property is not in your name. The property is in the name of some entity, not even in Texas. So they had to go and settle. While I gave you the example earlier in Orange County, where because the property was not under a waqf, they had to come up with $5 million. So the benefits are there from practical reasons. I'm not talking about the Sharia, people have covered that. But from practical purposes, practical experiences, it is very much needed. Let me just say one more thing about waqf before I continue here. Now it became very fashionable the last few years, for good, hopefully for good, that local communities are doing their own trust, which on the face of it is very good. But if you go to the legal minds, they tell you that's not a good idea. Why? A lot of people, what they're doing is, like in Orange County, in our own community. So they decided to have a local trust. They asked us to maybe help them. They got some documents from us. They established their own. It's a big community. But the usual thing what they do is, okay, now we have the waqf, we need a committee. Who are going to be in this committee? We want to have people who are well known in the community and respected. Who are they? The ex-president of the masjid, the ex-secretary of the masjid. Now lawyers tell you this is what they call musical chairs. This is where you break the shield between the waqf and the masjid. And in courts, they can do that. They can break the shield, and then your property that you think it's under waqf, it is actually only on paper. They can reach us. So you gotta go back to your community if you have a local waqf and make sure that you have this complete separation. Otherwise, the value of it is really nothing. Plus, obviously, people found out that this local waqf needs management, need people. There is documents. Somebody has to follow up. And if you don't follow up, give you another story where properties, Islamic centers, and Islamic entities are being sold in tax sales. Happened to one of our properties, actually, the cemetery in Chicago, which was gifted or given by actually a Saudi ambassador here in Washington, because his family, part of his family, died in the American Airlines crash of 1979 in Chicago. They entrusted it with NAIT, but they gave management to some kind of a committee. Now this committee, we have no control over it because it's operational. They have some kind of an address in some home or somewhere, we don't know. So there was an issue with the taxes, filing taxes and so on. They did not, nobody answered it, so the state or the county put it in sale. And actually a non-Muslim bought it, bought the whole cemetery for a few $100s. The fact that it was under NAIT, he was stuck and came to us. We paid him little money and brought it back. And as we speak right now, NAIT were involved in a few court cases. Some of them are similar to this. So running a waqf is not a simple thing. And you have to have the resources, financial and human, to follow up with the stuff. I would like to introduce our team here, so I'll tell you why in a minute. Brother Maqsood, our executive director, can you stand up, please? Brother Salah Ubaidullah, ex-executive director, president of AAA. Brother Qadri is in charge of AHI, and actually he's very instrumental in putting together our new cemetery in Chicago. And I recognize these brothers because sometimes we get an issue at one night that the local community has a problem. And we need somebody to be in court tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Sometime Brother Maqsood and before him Brother Salah as executive directors, they have to take the first flight in the morning to be in the court in Kansas City or in Louisiana or somewhere else. So running these waqfs is not simple. You have to have a strong management. You have to have financial resources. You have to. Now, we get all kinds of criticism. I'll get to that in a minute. But back to the history, the video showed you that ATP was incorporated in 1976. One of the things that NAIT and its history, they have been not trying to compete with others, but we try to fill the gap. If there is a real need for Muslims, we'll try to go in and fill the gap. So Islamic Book Services, for example, in the 70s, there was no Islamic books here in America, very little. So Islamic Book Services was started by the pioneers of MSA, Muslim students of United States of America and Canada. So we continued with it till there was enough Muslims getting in the business of providing Islamic books. We got out of it. Then ATP, where it's a publishing company, when we needed books in English, and sometimes we needed books to cover certain areas that nobody has wrote about it. So we established ATP, and it has more than 100 titles. Lately, for the last 15 years or so, we haven't published anything because, alhamdulillah, now we have professors writing books and universities helping Muslim kids to write, or men to write PhD dissertation, some of the issues, the current issues that Muslims are looking for somebody to cover. And brothers have talked about the financial aspects. We're proud to say that we introduced the mutual funds in America so that Muslims can invest in halal securities. We started Amana. Unfortunately, Amana went away, but we love you, you love us, I hope. But we established the Iman Fund in 2000 still. We're the investment advisor. And let me tell you, when you invest with NAIT, not only we're giving good return, as Brother Salah mentioned yesterday in his Iman Fund presentation, but remember, you're funding the Waqf. The board of the Waqf is all volunteers. But we have the staff that do every day grinding work. Needs to be. Have you seen NAIT doing any fundraising? We have never fundraised anything. The only thing, the last 2 years, we helped some inner cities for some financial help. But for NAIT, we never do fundraising. So how do we support this operation? How do you make sure that these 500 very, very important Islamic centers stay on the course? So when you invest with NAIT, remember that you're getting some kind of return, but you're helping Islamic cause. And let me tell you, in our some 50 years plus, we have given out interest-free loans to the tune of $50 million plus. We gave loans to Islamic centers, some Islamic schools, for 2-3 years, interest-free. That comes not from my pockets. No, it comes from the money that is coming from Muslim communities, because we have the ICCF, Islamic Center Corporate Fund, where we pull the money together. Right now it's in the order of $100 million. And we give something what we call a participation to these Islamic centers. And instead of the money sitting in the bank, Muslims think that if I put it in the bank, not in the saving account, just in a checking account, I'm doing very well. That's not good. That money is earning interest every night. But this interest now is going to a non-Muslim, to the bank. but you bring it with us, at least you're sharing this goodness. Out of that money, about 5.5% yearly for the last 40 years, we were giving back to masajid as a contribution. And the rest of it is this is the funding. The $50 million came from there. So that's how we fund the activities of NAIT. We don't take money from governments. We didn't take money from, if you guys want to donate to NAIT, we'll gladly take it. But we don't solicit, money from others. Now, we have done many other projects. We had one time a corporation called SANA, and we actually, before these real estate Muslim ventures came, financing ventures like guidance, etc., we were in the marketplace before them. We had SANA. We financed, I think, few houses in Chicago, maybe 7 houses in Chicago. But that was equity-based financing. So the limitation is not, you can't really grow it unless you do what these brothers have done, which is you recycle it through the government entities. So we have done that. We have right now very much into the halal. Brother Qadri may answer some of the questions if you have any questions regarding it. But very much excited, especially with partnership with Islamic City. I don't know, anybody knows who's Islamic City? Islamic City? Yeah, Brother Halim. Yeah. They've been around for some 30 years and doing very good work in da'wah, etc. They used to be the strongest website, Muslim da'wah website. They're still one of the top. Very good brothers. And we have joined forces with them to do Halal X marketplace and Halal X directory. We'd like to, and then through AHI, we'd like to make the word halal a wholesome word in the mainstream America. It's like kosher. Kosher now, people, a non-Jew will go and looks for kosher because he thinks it's healthy. We want the non-Muslim in 10, 20 years, go and see what is this halal, I want to have it. Because it's good for him, healthy and wholesome. And this needs money, advocacy. So we're funding this, inshallah. Forget about these are all covered by others. Now, the declaration of a trust, I wanna just hit some of the points that I know questions. We have a declaration of trusts between us and the local entity. As I mentioned, that we hold the title in perpetuality, and we don't get involved in daily affairs. So a question came that if something happens to NAIT, this is a question that people say this, and especially this was triggered in 2004 when the government named some 300 Muslim entities and individuals, including NAIT, CARE, ISNA, ICNA, I believe too. So everybody who's active, right? Not yet. Alhamdulillah. No, you are already there. So they named us on this called UCC, Unindicted Co-Conspirators. And it was a smear campaign. And NAIT was the only organization out of those 300 entities who took the government to court. And we were able to extract some very good successes from the court. The court, and if I have the paperwork here, I'll tell you what the court said. But basically, the lower court first admitted that they made a mistake making this public, because this was supposed to be a tool for gathering information. When you go to a legal case, you have to share with the opposite lawyer, who are you expecting to bring as witnesses? Where are this information? You give them so they can start preparing. So the government said that this is actually a list of people who have, government is interested in finding out the relationship, whatever, but they put it out there and people, Islamophobia, run with it. But we were able to, first of all, the court, the original court, admitted that was a mistake, they should have not done it. And then they sealed that admission. We took them to the higher court, and the higher court said, unsealed that. And they said that was a mistake. And they said that the fact that you're putting these in the UCC without giving them a chance to defend themselves violates their fifth rights, article rights, and so on and so on. The sad thing is not this. And by the way, we spent in the six-figure dollars at that time. You know how much is this today to go to court? Not because of us, because we will be there to defend these titles, these amana. And we're willing to spend the money, the time to defend the titles. And we did, alhamdulillah. Maybe we did not get 100% victory, but we got very close to that then. The sad story is when this happened, Muslims were calling us and said, please, can I take my property out of NAIT? So instead of standing together to this smear campaign and fighting it till the end, people wanted to take their entities, obviously not everybody, 2 or 3. But alhamdulillah, in our declaration of trust, which I have here, there is a provisions here. If something happens to NAIT, either financial like bankruptcy, or a third party entity like the government tries to seize assets, automatically the title goes back to the local community, automatically. So your titles are very safe for those who ask about this. Let me just now future. There is, and I'll stop in 2 minutes, so I open the floor for questions. The future looks very bright. Alhamdulillah, we're looking for new projects. We have been discussing with, we have tried to get to banking for the last few years. It's a difficult task, but right now we are in a very serious discussion with the brothers who started the first Muslim credit union to see if we can scale up this to help Muslims. We are thinking of other waqfs, because our waqf is the classic waqf, which is basically holding properties. And we, as I said, we have done a good job for the last 50 plus years. But now people are looking for other kinds of waqfs. We were just here talking in that table with Brother Samir, and he mentioned that, can we do waqf for funerals? Because right now it's becoming very, very expensive. You know, in our locality, in Southern California, right now, the cost of burying your loved ones is $30,000. $30,000 in Orange County, California. Who can do that? Very few people, right? And Brother Samir was telling me here, if you go to an Islamic, they have through Dar al-Hijra or somewhere, maybe it's 6,000-7,000, but if you go outside that, it's $15,000. That's a lot of money. So we're looking for other waqfs that maybe we can come. Now, speaking about the cemeteries, we've been running cemeteries for a long time through localities, and we have the main cemetery in Chicago that I mentioned earlier, and we just bought a big cemetery in Chicago that will be completely Muslim dedicated, inshallah. We have already buried, I think, 3 or 4 people there. But we are expanding in cemeteries. We're discussing with California people now to maybe purchase a couple of cemeteries there. In Southern California, we have our cemetery group is bought a big, some 150 acres. We have approach them to maybe partner up and so on. So when there is a need, we try to fill that need. I stop here. Thank you for listening. And if there is any questions, we have 5 minutes. If you don't, then stand up and relax and do some exercises. So if anybody has any question or comment, please. Brother Hussein. Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Unity make great asset for Kaluri Cat Large. That worked out there over all the time. And as it worked out, first of all, say, anti-capes delay. Automatic, the tigers will go back to the original people that trusted about that.
Right.
And what's the legal here?
Yeah, because the relationship between NAIT and the local entity is this document, the Declaration of Trust. This is a legal document that has stood the times for 50 years. And in that, there is a provision there. If something happens to NAIT, as I mentioned, automatically, because this is an agreement between you and the local entity. They are entrusting it. There is people who put their homes in trust with the bank, with a financial institution, and so on. So this declaration, that's what holds these two properties, these two entities, and the property together.
And can it be challenged?
Everything can be challenged in America, but they have they have their day in court. You have your day in court. I mean, it's not simple.
Have you been tested, Akhi? I just want to...
No, alhamdulillah, nothing happened to NAIT. Why would it be tested?
No, I'm just asking, Akhi, because it's a really great tools. I mean, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much, Akhi.
Thank you very much. Faddal.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair, Brother Saidi. I've got two questions. One is that some of the local Islamic centers now have got millions of dollars of property. And when they started with NAIT, it was small. Now they want to expand to deal with the city or with the state. They come up with a lot of restriction because of their relationship with NAIT. And sometimes the process is not very smooth. And you have seen, and I was personally involved in 2 or 3 of the communities which went to the court against NAIT. This is one question, and some people are complaining, that this is an additional hurdle, number one. Number two, when you talked about halal X, I remember some people sending us the question in the Fiqh Council, and me and some individuals doing individual investigation. And I'm giving you the bottom line. We have been selling this halal product, which is quite expensive than the local meat. And when we look at the restrictions of kosher and the way they are handling it, and the way our whatever entities are handling, I can tell you I have gone to Gainesville, Florida, I've gone to some of the other big plants. The only difference is that there's a tape. In the beginning, it says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Other than that, from A to Z, there's not a single difference between American and between our slaughterhouses.
Yes.
So we are selling extra, taking the community in the name of halal to pay $1 or $2, and we are not restricting our people who are taking our brand at least to use some of the kosher restrictions. I'm sorry for that.
Yes. Jazakallah khairan, Doctor. Regarding the first one, you said a new hurdle. I just mentioned earlier for the security of the trust, you want it to be at arm's length. There should be hurdles, because this is how they break the shield between the entity and whatever legal proceedings. So that's good, but at the same time, what you mentioned, it puts some kind of weight in the local community. Actually, it's putting weight on us, because some of these communities, they say, NAIT has to register in this state. Actually, we have been registering in many states because of this reason, because of the local things. But once we're registered there in this county or this city, they cannot discriminate against NAIT or anybody else. You're part of it. That's the only problem it was, and we're resolving it by putting more effort to register in all the states. the 50 states, inshallah. Now, regarding the halal, Brother Qadri, you want to say something? Did you understand the question, Brother Qadri?
No,
Thank you. I do agree with the concept of halal. Okay, so I just want to clarify that American Halal Institute is a halal certifying body. And when we're speaking about halal, we are not speaking specifically about meats. Okay, we're talking about the entire concept of halal, permissible, and tayyib. So we do not sell any products. When we do get approached by a company that produces, let's say, supplements or vitamins, and they want to certify their product as halal, the approach that my background is in food science. We have a holistic approach on looking onto the entire production from A to Z. What ingredients are used? Where are those ingredients are sourced from? What is the process of making that particular supplement? What are the sanitation steps taken within that facility, that manufacturing facility, to ensure that there is no, number one, that there are any pork byproducts or alcohol. That includes packaging as well, because in a lot of the food productions or in any type of edible productions, there may be some ingredients that are used as processing aid. Okay, so that's the approach. So halal really we're not specifically discussing the slaughtering aspect. Now, we understand also that there are many different fiqhi approaches to the entire issue of halal, dhabiha, and so on and so forth. So we help process through that entire thing, because governments throughout the world right now, whether we're speaking about Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Saudi, all over the world, are requiring products that are imported in their countries to be certified halal. Okay, so we kind of help in that process. And also, from the advocacy perspective of it, Illinois just recently, I think was one of the first states to pass a House bill in the state asking companies that claim, or establishments that they sell or serve halal products, to be certified with the states. So there are people, and unfortunately many of them are our own people, who may be tagging the sign halal on the door because they know that that's going to increase their sales. And this is being abused. So now in the state of Illinois, that's a misdemeanor if someone claims that something is halal and it is not certified. So that's the certification aspect of it. Okay. Now, Halalix is a completely different platform that we are working on, partnered with Islamicity in California. And it is first of all, it's a directory that contains over 40,000 entries. Okay. Now, these are in different categories. So you'll find whether it's restaurants, food and beverage companies, fashion, Muslim physicians, dentists, attorneys, accountants. So I encourage all of you a little later, okay, to, on your phone, type halalix.org, okay, and it will take you to the website, and then select where you're located here in Washington, D.C., and if you're looking to find a restaurant to eat outside, okay, you will be able to do that. Now, people say, yes, Google can do that, and they can, okay, but we're trying to help our own Muslim community access all this stuff. And now, of course, this is free. We're working on the app for it, okay? And you can go and do it. Now, the second aspect of Halalix is a marketplace where we make a platform for Muslims to sell their own products, okay? Halal products. Here now, halal again, using that larger concept and understanding of the word halal, okay? Something that is not haram, okay? We will not allow anyone to sell cigarettes, for example, or vapes or what have you, okay, that they would be able to sell on that platform, okay? I hope I was able to answer your question, but I do agree with you. You know, when we contact a dates producer in Arizona or California, and we say, you know, we want to, are you interested in getting certified as halal? And the Muslim owners, and there are several large Muslim owners of date farms and what have you, say, why? What do you mean? It's halal already. And like, yes, we do understand that, okay? But in order for you to import or export this somewhere else, some governments may require that certification, okay? And then the process by which the collection of the dates, the packaging, and so on and so forth. So I have mixed feelings about this because yes, it's halal, but when somebody's certifying your water as halal, you stop and question yourselves, right? But we don't see anyone raising the same questions about kosher.
Okay, thank you. Fadriga. Any follow-up?
Is it okay to ask a follow-up question? Okay, yeah. Jazakumullah khair for your efforts, my brothers, but I can tell you it's causing a lot of confusion within the community. And I want to be very blunt. I remember having a meeting with Munir Chaudhary Bhai in Chicago, maybe a long time before your idea came, and him even offering a lot of help and money because the reason is. But the main question was the type of ingredients which we are looking for or saying this is halal and that is haram, from whose fiqh? Some of those ingredients were totally Islamically allowed by the fuqaha in the fiqh Hanafi, while the Maliki was having some questions. Okay, even when it comes to, say, for example, halal meat, for example, the Shafi position was very lenient, while some of the Hanafi positions were very tight. So now when somebody goes in the shop and it says halal, now they are expecting it is as if it is zabiha, hand done, with proper tasmiyah, with all of those differences. And this is where they are paying extra dollars for that money. But while they do not know is that there is a plant just like Americans. Actually, Mexicans are working on that plant. They have got no concept of wudu. They have never said Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in their life. In the morning, they ask one of the imams, local imam, when he turns that tape on, he says Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and he's being paid for it. And throughout the day, everything else is totally American. So the question is, we Muslims, we are losing respect in our community because we are using this minority Islamic concept, trying to sell these Islamic ideas, and when people get to know the details, they say, oh subhanallah, my request is, the whole issue of date, for example. You have heard so many stories after stories where something came from Australia or came from New Zealand, and it is fish done by Islamic, halal way. So everybody knows what's going on. So the problem is, I think we need to bring some depth. And as I mentioned about the economics yesterday or the housing, that instead of doing the patchwork, we need to have these discussion among the ulama, fuqaha, and do come up with some solutions which are going to be permanent rather than temporal.
I got a message from the organizers that our time is up. We have taken more time than we should. So if you have any questions, come down and talk to us, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you very much.